Everyone. Happy 40th anniversary and happy snow day, I guess. Of course it's Minnesota. Of course. It could have been rain, it could have been snow. You never know what you're going to get when you live here at this time of year. Who knows what to wear, but here we are. You got to expect the unexpected in March. We're so glad you're here. We're so glad those of you who are watching us streaming are online and here too, and you're safe at home. 40 years, Anne.
Can you believe we've been working tirelessly for 40 years?
Congratulations to everyone. Fantastic. The commission's been working for a long time, and we've made it to that 40th anniversary. Very significant. We have a lot to celebrate. We have so many individuals to thank and to recognize today. We especially want to thank all of you. It's your collective efforts. It's your sharing your lived experiences, mobilizing our community, and advocating for all the changes that we would like to see. That's made all the difference. So now, this is our official kickoff for the beginning of a long celebration. We will be having a second event because we want to continue to honor this celebration in 40 years. We'll be putting more information about that new event in our newsletter website and out online. And
recently, you will have noticed that there's some photos that were showing up on the platform here, and this is recognizing and honoring some of our history. Also, Deaf-Blind and Hard of Hearing State Services has a mural that was made by Bob Cook over in the back here on the side. Bob Cook, if you might recall, was a former employee with State Services and a community leader. So please, if you haven't taken a look at that mural yet, please do so. State Services created was first established in 1980. Then the commission was created in 1985. You can see some highlights within the timeline, some legislative highlights. So please, also, you can take up one of the documents in the back and bring that home with you.
We have something very exciting and quite a surprise. We have a guest of honor we weren't expecting to be here. Our very own governor, Governor Tim Walz, would like to stop by and make a few comments to all of us. So yeah, Governor Walz, thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate it.
Good afternoon. Welcome to your capital. Today we're celebrating 40 years. 40 years of people coming to this capital to advocate for something very simple but very important. That everybody in Minnesota matters. Everybody in Minnesota should have the opportunity to participate as fully as possible in all aspects of life. So while it's a celebration, I'm here to say thank you. Minnesota believes our strength lies in our diversity. We believe in equity, and we believe in inclusion of every single Minnesotan. So when you come to advocate with the legislators, you're not asking for anything special. You're asking for the very basics that the state of Minnesota should be able to deliver. Access to the services that everyone else is getting access to. So, congratulations, but with an acknowledgement. We have more work to do. The way that work gets done, by coming out on a snowy day by sitting in the rotunda of the Capitol and by making elected officials understand why what you're asking for are fundamental human rights. And so it's my pleasure as governor to be able to issue the following proclamation. State of Minnesota Proclamation. Whereas the Minnesota Commission of the Deaf, Deafblind, and Hard of Hearing is celebrating 40 years of community advocacy and partnership to ensure equal opportunity for all. The commission was first passed into law by the 74th legislature in 1985 with 3 key responsibilities: to advise the Commissioner of Human Services on the development of policies, programs, and services, to create public awareness on the needs and potential of people with hearing loss, and to provide the Commissioner with a review of ongoing services, programs, and proposed legislation. The roles and responsibility of the Commission have evolved significantly over 4 decades. Today, the Commission assists community members in advocating for equal access, creates public awareness campaigns, advises the governor, the legislature, state agencies, and the judicial branch, recommends legislation designed to improve the lives of deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing Minnesotans, and proposes solutions to barriers being experienced by Minnesotans. The Commission, in partnership with legislative partners, community advocates, and stakeholders, has successfully passed essential legislation over the years, including the following: newborn hearing screening, insurance coverage for hearing aids for all ages, access to closed captioning on television, digital accessibility and usability standards, acoustic standards in all school construction, accessible prescription labels in Braille and large print, and so much more. Minnesota applauds this vital work of the Commission of the Deaf, Deafblind, and Hard of Hearing, and joins you in celebrating 40 years of advocating for communication access and equal opportunity for all. Now, therefore, I, Tim Walz, Governor of Minnesota, do hereby proclaim March 5th, 2025, as Commission of the Deaf, Deafblind, and Hard of Hearing Day across Minnesota. I'm going to present. So.
Was it wrong that I want to cry? Maybe. Patrick's just.
Hello, everyone. My name is Patrick Vellia. He, him pronouns. I'm one of the civic engagement specialists here. It is a privilege today to introduce an individual who was instrumental in our history from the very beginning, 40 years ago when the Commission was founded. Unfortunately, Curt Micka was not able to be with us today. He's not feeling well. So in his stead, John Fechter will be expressing Curt's thoughts. We still want to honor and show our deep appreciation for all the invaluable contributions to the Commission's success because of Curt's vision and dedication to people who are deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing. It is that remarkable journey that we celebrate today. Thank you. As Patrick mentioned, my name is John Fechter, and I will be sharing thoughts from Curt Micka. Curt was the first executive director for the commission from around 1988 to 95. Curt said, "During my time with the commission, one of the most significant efforts we undertook was working to pass new legislative requirements for sign language interpreters. The goal was to ensure that interpreters, particularly in schools, met certain standards. There were barriers to this. Often, individuals weren't able to get interpreting services. Curt was a former attorney. He saw the issues, which is one of the reasons he took on the role of working at the commission. One of the most satisfying things was working alongside the deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing communities, especially when it came to legislative advocacy. I worked with them to help understand how to engage their legislators. How to testify at hearings, and how to advocate for their rights. Today, the deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing individuals have so much more information access than they used to, and we need that to continue. The various laws, policies, and acts that have been passed have only increased the quality of life for deaf and hard of hearing individuals in Minnesota. And again, we are advancing in different opportunities for our deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing communities, and those efforts will only continue. I want to applaud all of the work for the commission, and now I will turn it over to Jer Loudenback and Mike Cashman. Thank you for your time. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jer Loudenback. I, too, am one of the civic engagement specialists. This afternoon, I have the honor of introducing Mike Cashman. Mike worked closely with Curt Micka in the early days of the commission's founding. Together, they were the driving forces behind establishing the vision and the future of the commission. We are deeply grateful for the commitment Mike demonstrated throughout those formative years, and it is a pleasure to welcome him today.
Thank you, Jer. Hello, everybody. I'm Mike. Nice introduction. I don't know if you know that, but we're from Gallaudet together. We were students at different times, but we're both alums. I'm happy to be here today. I don't know if you noticed what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a brown corduroy jacket, blue shirt, and blue jeans. I also have a tie with the alphabet on it, the ABC. I have curly hair, a short beard and mustache. And I just want to make sure people understood what I look like if you can't see me quite clearly. 40 years is an enormous milestone. I know, Jessalyn, I really want to thank you so much for having me here to reflect on our time. I also want to express my gratitude to Darlene Zangara. Oh, I also want to talk about Dwight Maxa, who is not here today, but I know he was instrumental in asking me to be a part of the commission way back at the beginning. So Dwight and Curt, June 26, 1995, asked if I would come on board and be a part of the commission, and I accepted. Curt Micka, I don't use this word often. But that word empowerment, he was the literal embodiment of what that means. Curt's entire drive was about empowerment for me, for other members of the deaf and deafblind communities. I loved working with Curt, very much enjoyed our time together. He was a great person, very analytical, loved to take things right down to the detail. If you know him, you know. Curt and I would often come to the Capitol to meet with legislators. We spent a lot of time on the road, making our rounds here on both sides of the aisle. A lot of times when we were in a committee for a hearing or speaking to a legislator, I would be speaking to whatever was on the floor at the time, and I would turn to Curt and ask him the opportunity to ask if he wanted to add something. And he always said no. And I always wondered about that. So one time we were leaving a committee hearing, we were walking to the elevator, and I said, Curt, how come every time I ask if you want to add something, you don't? And he says, I've never walked in your shoes. I have nothing to say. That got me. It got me about how much he got it. Curt and I started Legislative Day, we think 97, 96, we can't quite remember, but we were working within the community to spend a day here celebrating the deaf, hard of hearing, and deaf-blind communities. So we all came here on Legislative Day. We set it up so that people could meet with their regular legislators and knock on doors. And sorry, Patty, I didn't tell you I was going to say that, but then I'm off script. So, yes, but that is my reputation, so here we go. There was a deafblind person who I know was involved with us at the time and said they wanted to meet with their legislator. I said, that would be fantastic. And they were terrified. They said, this person is so important. And I said, you've got that backwards. You are the boss of the legislator. Yes, they seem like they are, in this position of privilege, but you are the constituent. And I remember we went into the legislator's office, and the deafblind person said, this setup is just not right for me. I don't know if I can say anything. And the first thing I said is, this is your platform. And the legislator absolutely agreed, got right up, and we rearranged the room to make the visual space more appropriate. And those are the kinds of lessons that Curt and I were working on, teaching people how to advocate for themselves, to understand their own power, to understand how to work within the legislative system, how to work in collaboration with interpreters in the legislative system. It's a lot of what we did. And we always hit the ground running. We were out all over the state having town halls, community meetings, trying to find out what people needed. It was a fun part of it, too. We had a chance to meet so many amazing people all over the state of Minnesota. We hosted numerous town halls as part of the commission's work. We did a lot of education and training. Teaching people what the strategies are. How do we manage barriers? How do you create talking points to talk to your legislators about what your issues are? We had a whole series of talking points that we would put out and have people speak to what their needs were, and then we would somehow bring that down to the commission's board with just a few achievements that we wanted to bring forward to the legislative process. Now, we had no idea at that time what technology would turn into like we did today. We don't need to go anywhere. We've got Zoom, we've got FaceTime, the ability to collect so much more information, have so much more access to communication. We used to get up at 4 in the morning, drive somewhere, have our sessions, and just think of how much more people can learn about what they can do here today. They told me 5 minutes, so I'm going to try to wrap it up. It's not necessarily in my nature to do so, but here I go. And I think what's happening, our plate is just getting bigger and bigger. We've got a lot of things going on right now. There are a lot of challenges, and we know it's a full plate for the commission, but we trust Darlene and the rest of you and the commission to take it head on. And we know you will continue to do this great work. Enjoy the ride. Thank you.
Hello, beautiful people. I am happy to celebrate with you for the 40th anniversary. My name is Kim Wassenaar, and I am proud to be part of the civic engagement team. The next individual I'm about to introduce, who's Mary Hartnett. Her work has been amazing. During her time working with us, she passed over 80 bills. In addition, she increased the budget from $60,000 to over $1 million. Working solo, really, the legislature was able to recognize her work. That it's critical for deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing community to have their work be successful. She did some phenomenal work, and the legislature did recognize the need for this. And we've been working to teach them to work with the deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing community as well. And so we want to say thank you to Mary for all of her work and her contributions to the deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing community becoming successful. She has some big shoes to fill, but we are so grateful to Mary. Even though Mary wasn't able to join us today, we do have a video that was created, so take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mary Hartnett, and I had the honor of serving as the Executive Director of the Commission from 2000 to 2019. The Commission was founded after a meeting led by deaf community leaders with Governor Pitch, and their tireless advocacy is why we're here today. Their legacy continues to guide us and our work. When I reflect on my time at the Commission, what stands out most are the relationships that we built over the years. These relationships led to policy changes and systems changes that created a more equitable world. This work was led by the hard of hearing communities alongside the board I served with and board chairs including Marion House, Lee Snubb, Tom Anderson, Jason Valentine, and Michelle Isham. We built on the incredible work of previous boards and the great leaders Curt, Micka, and Mike Cashman. expanding our reach to a more diverse community, including people of color, researchers, policy experts, and advocates across education, health, unemployment, technology, and other disability groups, and legislators who became our champions for our cause. Together, we developed 3 separate 5 to 6 year strategic plans that set ambitious long-term goals, goals that many believed were impossible. But the community believed in us, and that belief only grew stronger over time, allowing us to achieve most of these goals. One of my proudest achievements is seeing how we empowered individuals to take action, to vote, meet with legislators, tell their stories, and show the world that there are no limits to what they can achieve. This work helped broaden the Commission's influence, and as a result, legislators became more willing to invest in us. Our budget grew from about $60,000 to over $1 million. With that growth, we built a talented and dedicated team that continues to support the mission today. We also focused on recruiting a more diverse group of Commission members who now carry that vision forward. When I think about the legislation I'm most proud of, I remember how each piece was born out of a person or family sharing their story. Stories of hardship caused by barriers to education, employment, and more. With their input, we passed laws that addressed directly these challenges. Some of the most meaningful milestones include newborn hearing screening at birth, along with vital supports for babies, including sign language instruction from deaf mentors, a hearing aid loaner bank, and parent support and education. A technology accessibility bill that got standards set for accessible state websites, along with the Chief Information Accessibility Officer to ensure that state websites, documents, and online events are accessible. A mandate for insurance coverage for hearing aids for children. The Education Collaborative Plan, which brought together over 60 groups from across the state to improve education outcomes for deaf, hard of hearing, and deafblind children. Increased funding for deaf individuals and families, along with executive orders and legislation that increased employment opportunities for people with disabilities, including people that are deaf and hard of hearing. I can't talk about progress without mentioning the Americans with Disabilities Act, or the ADA, passed in 1990. The ADA was a game changer for people with disabilities, including those who are deaf or hard of hearing. When I began my work in the 1970s, deaf individuals could only communicate with each other using TTY devices. If they wanted to communicate with hearing individuals, they had to rely on services like United Way or family members. The introduction of the telephone relay service in Minnesota in the 1980s, led and operated by the deaf community, marked a significant step forward. Today, technological advancements combined with the ADA have made it easier for individuals who are deaf, blind, and hard of hearing to fully engage in society, while we still face discrimination and communication barriers. The progress we've made has been transformative and remarkable. The ADA laid the groundwork for this change, setting the stage for inclusive institutions and encouraging state agencies to adopt these principles. It changed how we work and how we view disability as society. However, these gains are now under threat. actions on the federal level could undo some of these hard-won achievements. There are threats to dismantle the Department of Education and eliminate the Department of Civil Rights in the Education's office, making it harder for children to get the education they need. Cuts to the National Institute of Health would make it nearly impossible to coordinate newborn hearing screening, conduct research, and provide hospitals with the necessary training. Severe cuts to Medicaid would take health care and independence away from adults and children with disabilities. The dismantling of the Office of Civil Rights in the Department of Justice would make it more difficult to pursue legal action for discrimination. And the proposed SAVE Act, if passed, would take the vote away from millions of eligible voters. The Commission is a bulwark against these threats. This is the time to tell your stories to your legislators about how these changes will hurt you and your community. Use your power, the community's power, and the Commission's power. Resistance has always been your strength. Stand up and keep fighting. Long live the Commission of Deaf, and Hard of Hearing.
Now we'd like to invite Kyle Littlepage and Dr. Darlene Zangara to the stage.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kyle Littlepage. I'm the newest member of the Civic Engagement team. The big shoes left by Mary were filled by a visionary and exceptional leader in our community, Dr. Darlene Zangara. Over the past 5 years, Dr. Darlene has led the growth of our commission team, implementing crucial internal governance changes, hiring specialized expertise where it was needed, and driving expansion in areas we've long aspired to develop. Under her leadership, in collaboration with a dedicated team, we have seen a transformative progress and laid the foundation for a bright and promising future. It is my honor to introduce our current Executive Director, Dr. Darlene Zangara.
Hello, everyone. It is so nice to see you all here. And a big hello to everyone that's watching us on Facebook and YouTube as well. I consider myself a very fortunate person. I am surrounded by an amazing community, and I am standing on the shoulders of giants. There have been many great leaders and advocates who have paved the way before us. And it is up to us today to continue this work. It has been my honor to serve as the Commission's Executive Director since 2019, that is. There have been many interesting adventures. We have navigated a global pandemic and advocated diligently for sign language access and quality captions during this emergency. As you may recall, we launched a statewide initiative called Interpreting Forward, And we currently have about 114 proposed solutions that we now have to sift through in order to move forward with that work and to continue to improve the quality of life and address a critical question, which is, how do we increase the quality and quantity of sign language interpreting services in Minnesota? In recent years, we've hosted 2 collaborative experience conferences. We did that both virtually and in person. We also hosted 2 lobby days, similar to today. We've passed many new laws, including removing the age limit to hearing aid insurance coverage. Previously, the law only covered ages 0 to 18, but now this is true that we have the insurance coverage for all ages for people in Minnesota based on their group insurance plans. Deafblind community members struggled with reading their prescription labels. And that's a serious and potentially dangerous issue. We were able to get legislation passed for Braille and large print prescription labels. And these are just 2 examples of recent legislation that has been successfully passed. But it isn't the Commission alone who is responsible for these achievements. Every single one of us is responsible. We are all the change makers, the community advocates who speak out about issues, the stakeholder groups who represent different points of view, and the legislators who are our champions. All of you are the Commission. The Commission would not be able to do this alone. We couldn't do this work without each of you. Now, we're in a time of uncertainty. Politically, there's a lot of division. With competing priorities and this divisiveness, with all these different perspectives, it's a challenging time. And this continues to threaten our communication access and our human rights. Now, we have to find ways to build bridges and work together. Let's remember who we are. We are humans who advocate for communication access and equal opportunity so that all deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing Minnesotans have the same level of access as our neighbors and our friends and hearing counterparts. Our mission remains, and we will continue to work diligently to protect our rights as deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing citizens here in Minnesota. I'm very thrilled and excited to introduce 2 wonderful board members who are going to come to the stage, John Fechter and Chandra Petersen.
Got a little change? Cheers back.
I am, thanks. Where's my partner in crime? There you are. Hello again. I'm Jer Loudenback. Again, Community Engagement Specialist, right? Yes, that's what I am. So I just wanted to let you know that we are a little bit ahead of schedule. And so because of that, some of our legislators will be showing up a little later. And so we are adjusting our program. Thank you for bearing with us, much like we bear with the snow today, right? It is my honor to introduce a person who is on our commission's team, the government liaison, governor relations director, who's here at this building quite a lot, and also works closely with each of our legislators, advancing our legislative agenda. It is my pleasure to introduce Alicia Lane.
Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Alicia Lane. I'm the Government Relations Director for the Commission. As Jer mentioned, we've had a little change in the schedule, so I'm going to take a few moments to just talk a bit more about this legislative session. While I am here frequently, the true power lies with you all and your advocacy. Legislators value getting stories from people who are impacted. They are interested in knowing how legislation is impacting Minnesota's citizens and to see how you can connect now with your legislators. Your legislators represent you here at the Capitol, and they need to know what issues are important to you and why they matter. This year, we've gotten some input that it's a little bit different. Maybe you've noticed the building across the street, that they're expanding that building. That's the state office building. And typically that's where the House of Representatives has their offices. The House of Representatives typically meet in the room up back here behind me, and then they would go to their offices, and that's where they can meet with constituents. That's now been under renovation, and they're expecting it to be for 2 years. So for this session, as well as next session, at a minimum, that building will be closed. So if you're wondering where would you be going to meet with the House of Representatives, that they're at the Centennial Office building. So they've had to rearrange and make some more space so that there would be a temporary relocation there. So it is quite crowded over there, which means that if you wanted to meet with your representative, you can certainly do so. You just reach out to them and ask them for a meeting and ask them where they would prefer to meet, because it has been very difficult for them to find appropriate spaces over there. So sometimes they prefer to meet virtually. If you do need to meet in person, if you're an individual who is deaf-blind and you would prefer to meet in person, that's fine. You can just let them know that you would rather have an in-person meeting, and then they will be telling you what location to be meeting at. So, today there is a booth over here for state services as well as a booth for the commission. After this event, I'm going to be available at the commission's booth if you wanted to talk more, or if you have any questions for me. If you want to be talking about what legislation is being advanced this year, etc., I'll be available there in the back until 4:30. I'm very happy to speak with anyone about what's been going on with this legislative session or what bills we've passed in the past. We were thrilled to see Governor Walz here, and that he had mentioned several of our more significant legislative pieces that we worked on. So I'd be happy to talk more about any of that with you all. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to John Fechter, and Chandra Petersen.
I'm going to stay down here. Hello, everybody. My name is Chandra Petersen, and I am on the board of the commission. And with me today also is John Fechter, and he is also on the board and serves as our vice chair. It's an honor today for us to recognize individuals who have been instrumental in shaping the commission's 40-year journey. While there are many important people, all of you, our legislators, and countless others, we would like to take a moment to give special recognition to the following individuals.
Make it so everyone can see me. We want to honor and recognize several individuals who have been a part of this. Some of them will be with us to make statements, and a few will not. First, we have Governor Walz, who was recently with us and made his proclamation. Next, we have Representative Liz Reyer, Senator Ann Rest, Senator Jim Abler, Senator Fong He, Senator Tori Westrom, and Margaret Anderson Kelleher. I believe Representative Reyer is with us. She's going to come up and make a few statements.
Hi, good afternoon. Is the mic well positioned? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. It was way over there. Yeah, I'm Liz Reyer, state representative from Egan and Burnsville. I've been in the House of Representatives. This is my 5th year, and much of the time I've been here, I've had the privilege of working with the team from this organization, and it's meant a lot to me because for me, one of the reasons I ran was because I feel like every person in the state of Minnesota should have access to all of the benefits and services and all of the wonderful things here in our state. And I know that that has not been the case. That we do some good things, but there's still a long way to go. And so it's been an honor to be part of the work. I've worked on issues related to human rights. I've worked on issues related to accessibility, and I'll continue to do that. I focus a lot on healthcare reform, making sure everyone has access to affordable, high quality, and accessible care. And so for me, coming here today and being with you and knowing that the work that we do together is making a difference, it's really rewarding, and I really appreciate the opportunity. I don't take it lightly, and I just thank you for having me here today.
The obligatory.
Let's give a round of applause to Representative Reyer. And now we're going to check to see whether or not Jim Abler is in the room. What about Margaret Anderson Kelleher? Are you with us right now? We have recognized them, and so now we'll bring Alicia Lane back up to make some final comments.
I was summoned again. Gives you a little sense of what it's like being at the legislative session. You really have to be flexible and be ready to show up when needed. In my opinion, I do believe that Minnesota probably has one of the hardest working legislatures. I've heard from other states, like Minnesota does it differently. And I think we are able to accomplish quite a bit here, and I'm honored to work with the legislators here at the Capitol. We have been able to accomplish much. I've also grown and learned quite a bit in working with them. So now, we're going to go ahead. Our program is wrapped up now. We are complete with our program and want to say thank you to everyone who has come today, especially considering the weather. Please feel free to stay and spend time with each other. We'll be here until 4:30. I personally, again, will be at the back of the room at this booth if you have any questions about the legislative session, legislation, etc. So please, thank you for coming, and it's been wonderful to see you all.
Yeah.